Hi, good evening. My name is Alisa Johnson. Thank you for Chris and Clever Talks for inviting myself and all the other speakers tonight. I'm here to tell you my story about how a single idea inspired me to create change. In my day job, quote unquote, I am a U.S. Marine. I fly the KC-130J Super Hercules, and I'm stationed here at MCAS Miramar in San Diego. I've served for 5 years, and I have done a deployment to Kuwait in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. In addition to being a Marine, I'm also a nonprofit executive. I'm the president, CEO, and co-founder of the nonprofit organization Dogs on Deployment, which is a national network that connects deploying service members with volunteers willing to board their pets during their service commitments. And I could not have started a nonprofit organization helping animals if I wasn't an animal lover myself. I'm afraid to admit that I am the proud mom of 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 2 parrots, and I have fostered 9 dogs. Yes, I don't recommend doing all of them at the same time. It's my love for the military and the love for animals that really inspires me to continue to run Dogs on Deployment despite my breaking points. So why am I here? I'm here because of this guy. This is my 8-year-old Australian Shepherd named JD. He is being reunited with me in this photo after I had just returned from deployment on my flight line. My husband, Sean, who's here in the audience, he also serves active duty in the Navy. We adopted JD when we had just gotten engaged. Of the 10 years that my husband and I have been together, we have been separated nearly 7 years due to our military commitments, deployments, and PCS moves. So JD has really been like our glue, and like many military families, he is a member of our family. We always thought that we would have a plan in place for JD, but in 2011, I had just commissioned into the Marine Corps. I was scheduled to attend 6 months of training at the basic school, which is a infantry-centric school required by all Marine Corps officers. And at the same time, Sean was scheduled to deploy, and we found ourselves realizing we had no idea what to do with our dog. So we started looking into professional kenneling, boarding, and we found that the cost to board him was going to be a small fortune, but it was something that we were willing to do because he is a member of our family, and we would do anything we could in our power to keep him a part of it. We were lucky. A distant relative heard of our situation, and they volunteered to step up and watch JD, and we were completely relieved. We couldn't believe it, especially because he is completely neurotic, very misbehaved, bolts out the door, pulls on the leash, barks in the car. He's terrible. But we were relieved. But it got us thinking, okay, so we're 2 military officers, we're college graduates, we have family, we have the financial resources to board him if we needed to. What about the military members that are younger, that don't have that support system, that don't have the financial means to do that? What do they do with their animals when they go on their service commitments? So we packed my baby blue convertible. We moved my dog, myself, everything I needed for 6 months, and my husband and my car, and we drove across country from San Diego to Virginia. And we started thinking about this problem. We started researching it. And on that drive, I actually called several animal shelters in military communities, and I asked them, is this a problem? What I found was absolutely shocking. There were several animal rescues that admitted to not adopting to military families because the fear of relinquishment of the animal was so high. I even found myself to be a victim of this discrimination. I tried to adopt a dog several years later, after JD, and the first adoption agency I contacted told me that I was not fit to be a dog owner. Okay, so I can be a pilot, I can be a Marine, I can serve the country, I can protect your freedoms, but I'm not responsible or mature enough to own an animal. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I feel like that's the wrong message that we should be sending our military families, especially when so many military members rely on their companion animals to provide them support during their very chaotic lifestyles. So on that drive, we built the framework for Dogs on Deployment. We determined that we needed to do something about this problem. We saw a need in the community, and we knew that we had the resources, the ability to be able to create change. So we founded Dogs on Deployment, and since 2011, so 5 years we've been incorporated, we have helped over 860 military members find temporary care for their pets during their service commitments. In addition, we have provided nearly $200,000 in financial aid to help with military pet owners during their financial emergencies. But this whole process was not easy by any means. I have no idea what I'm doing. I really don't. I was 23 when I started Dogs on Deployment. I'm 28 now. I was a OK student. I studied industrial systems engineering. I joined the Marine Corps because, hoorah, why not? I prefer my high heels, but I also look good in combat boots. And I became a pilot. Nowhere in there do I have any nonprofit experience. I have no business experience. I have no marketing experience. I have no social media, public relations, branding, graphics arts, web development. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just decided one day, hey, this sounds like a good idea. I'm going to start a nonprofit. My husband was like, yeah, babe, go for it. This is pretty much what my bookshelf looks like. When we got to Virginia, we stayed the night in a hotel room, and before we got into the hotel, we went to a Barnes & Noble, and I bought HTML for Dummies, and I read that book front to back, and I downloaded a free version of a website builder, and I knew that in order to have my vision become a reality, I needed to create some sort of network that would connect military members to the volunteers that wanted to help them in the first place. So I built the first website. It was completely archaic. It looked terrible, but it did the job. It essentially did exactly what I needed it to do. I'm now into 5 integrations of my website, and I'm in charge of the website development and the vision for what the website does and how it operates. There were so many times that I felt completely overwhelmed by my lack of knowledge, and my confidence level and several times dropped to being nothing because it was just so much responsibility that I was taking on a very quick time frame. And I wanted to give up all the time, but I didn't. And it's been 5 years, and my nonprofit has grown from a team of me and my husband to a team of nearly 30,000 volunteers. And I have a fantastic board, and I know what I'm doing now. I'm not done. I need to get my priorities straight. When I started Dogs on Deployment, I was in flight school. I was learning to fly the airplane, I was learning my NATOPS, I was learning my emergency procedures, I was learning instrument flights, I was learning about the FAA, I was learning about everything during the day. And at night, I was studying Dogs on Deployment, nonprofit management, reading all those HTML for Dummies books, trying to figure out how to run a nonprofit organization. The upsetting part was I got a lot of conflict from my peers, my leadership, telling me that I need to get my priorities straight. Like, are you really sure that you're putting enough effort into the Marine Corps? You know, because, you know, you're doing this nonprofit thing on the side. Of course, I think, maybe. There were a lot of times that I felt like I didn't get the support I needed from people external to me. Of course, those in my organization were always very supportive, and my family very supportive, but it was other people that made me want to quit because I wasn't sure if I had my priorities straight. But each time I helped somebody, and each time we got a new pet that was able to have that, you know, you got to remember, every pet in our website, there's a military family behind it. And it was those military members that we were personally helping, empowering them to find peace of mind during their service commitments. And that's what kept me going. And I realized that that had to be a priority. So I have my priorities straight. I feel like I'm floundering. I work full-time for the Marine Corps. And I love it. It's my passion. I've always wanted to be a Marine, and I joined the Marine Corps and became a pilot because it was one of the most challenging things that I could possibly imagine myself doing. But I also work full-time for Dogs on Deployment. I work all day, I come home, and I work all night on my nonprofit organization. I don't have weekends, and me and my husband fight all the time because sometimes we just want to have a break. I don't get paid for Dogs on Deployment. It's a completely 100% volunteer organization. And there are days where I just want to quit. I do. It's very, very challenging to put 159% of yourself into an organization and your career. But I couldn't do this by myself, and I definitely don't. I have an amazing husband and family that supports me. I have amazing volunteers, who some of them are in the audience tonight here that support me. if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for all the people that I was able to bring into my vision and motivate them to want to support the organization and have ownership to what our mission is, it motivates me to know that they're motivated back to be able to keep going. And because of that, I'm able to stay afloat, and I feel stronger because of it. If I'd given up, all of these breaking points made me want to quit. But a few years ago, I got an email from a Vietnam veteran, and he told me that he needed help for his 2 cats. And I said, okay, well, we help veterans, but we do have certain requirements for our organization. What's your situation? Let's see if we can help you. And he told me it wasn't for me. It was for my son. His son was a Marine Corps sergeant that had deployed to Afghanistan. He got blown up in an IED, and he lost both of his legs and his arm. And he had 2 little girls and a wife who left him. And his family, his parents, had moved from the East Coast to the West Coast in order to be with him during his recovery. They were waiting for his house to be built, a disabled accessibility house. And they were living in base housing at the time, and base housing has pet restrictions. They wouldn't accept their cats. So for 6 months, this Vietnam veteran, father of a Marine, the survivor, needed boarding for his 2 cats. And I said, of course, how could I not help you? That is the epitome of what it means to want to, create an organization to help people. Of course. And so indeed we did. We fostered his cats, and he was able to reunite with him. But that's what you do. If you've given up, if I'd given up, if the organization was never started in the first place because I was scared of starting it, I would have never been able to help that military family or the 860 plus other military members that we've helped. It's hard to do something. In our generation of millennials, especially those that serve in the military, we are uniquely empowered to feel like we can make change in the world. We are unlike any other generation of people. We are so strong, we are smart, we have vision, we have motivation, and we have a great group of peers that support us in that cause. Just think of Clever Talks. A whole group of millennials that want to make change for military millennials. The cost of doing nothing is so much greater than the cost of doing something. If you see something in the world that you want to change, that you believe that you have a solution for, don't just stand by and say, someone else will do it. Do something. Thank you.